Yes, the Casanovians. Yes, the Casanovians. Alright, brother. As the title suggests, we're going to talk about penis problems. Hooray, everybody's favourite topic. How I overcame my erectile dysfunction. This is a video that I didn't think I'd ever have the emotional bravery to put out there into the world. But if you've clicked on this video, then you're obviously going through this right now. And understand, when I'm talking to you in this video, I'm not talking to you as a guru, a coach. I'm not trying to lecture you. I'm talking to you as a brother, as a man who understands the exact position that you're in. Because I know how debilitating this is. You feel as though your entire masculinity is being stripped away from you. It feels like loss of identity. Maybe you're in a similar position to the one that I was in 2020. When I first started learning daytime approach, I got very good at the front end, approaching, carrying conversations, going on dates with women I thought were way out of my league. And the amount of times I'd take them back to my apartment, not be able to get it up, checking my WhatsApp a couple hours later, they'd blocked me. And when you're in this phase where it's just not working, you end up going down this negative spiral, this spiral where you can't seem to break out of it. You end up experiencing failure in advance, where I'd be on dates with women and in the back of my head, I'd feel like I have this dirty secret. Eventually, she's going to find out. Eventually, we're going to get back to my place and I'm going to lose value in the eyes of this woman. I'm going to lose some form of status. She might then go and tell all her friends about how forgettable and disappointing I was. And this came from my childhood. And before we get into all this, I want to preface this with saying, I'm not going to give you the generic advice. I'm not going to tell you, oh, if you're struggling with penis problems right now, you need to lift heavy. You need to get your nutrition dialed in. You need to get quality sleep, avoid alcohol. I did all of these things and still nothing was working. I even tried dick pills. They didn't even work, right? So I understood that my issue was psychological. And I would devour Reddit posts, I would watch YouTube videos, I would read blogs. And I wasn't reading and consuming this content because I wanted to be educated. I was reading it because I wanted to know that other people understood. I wanted to know that other people had been through what I'd been through and had come out the other side. And I want to say to you from the depths of my heart, you will get through this. And I can say that with certainty now because I didn't think I would. I felt as though I tried everything. One girl after another, it didn't work. I got more and more stuck in my head. I felt more and more like a piece of shit that no matter what I did, I was never going to be able to overcome this. So I just wanted to preface this. It might be a little bit jagged and all over the place. I might stumble across my words. I just wanted to put this out in a raw, authentic way because this is the content I wish I had available to me when I was going through it. And interestingly enough, when I work with my guys one-on-one, we have conversations like this. I'll have conversations with my private coaching clients, and I don't just help my clients when it comes to approaching women. For me, this is about building a rock star dating life, becoming your most abundant self, removing all of these psychological blocks, removing the guilt, the shame, the regret, so you can become the version of yourself who you know is there, okay? Because you'd be surprised. I get DMs from guys on IG. I get comments from guys on YouTube about this very topic. So the reason I'm telling you this is you're not alone. You're not broken. And a big portion of this, really, it isn't your fault, okay? Because the first thing I want to make you aware of is I understood my issues were psychological. And the reason why I had sexual performance issues dates back to my childhood. So my parents got divorced when I was 5 years old. Growing up, it was just me and my mum. We lived on a council estate in the north of England, in the Lake District, very small town. And growing up, we struggled. We struggled to get by. We could only afford the basics. And because my mum has got a lot of mental health problems, I often became the emotional brunt of her mood swings. So I learned from a young age, if I said the wrong thing at the wrong time with the wrong intonation, I would inflict the wrath of my mum. So I learned from a young age, women were not safe. And over the years, I developed this fear of the feminine, which meant that whenever I was dating women, or whenever I got into relationships with women, or whenever it came to time to have sex with women, it felt as though all my trauma bubbled to the surface. I desperately wanted to please this woman. I was terrified of losing value in her eyes. I was so scared that if I couldn't perform, I would lose her. And this was a deep fear that I had of abandonment. I think it's because my parents got divorced. I used to think that was my fault. I thought I was a bad child. That's why my dad left. And I thought that I had to be perfect in order to receive love. And it might be a similar position to you right now, where you've done the supplements, you've tried taking magnesium and zinc, you are lifting at the gym, you're prioritizing quality sleep. If you feel as though you've tried everything and none of the generic advice is working, obviously I don't know you, but I would say that your issues are probably psychological. Because if you're waking up in the morning with morning woods, maybe not every single day, but you see that you can get hard, right? Then for me, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, I'm just saying what worked for me. For me, when I knew I was waking up with a hard-on in the morning, I'm like, okay, logically, my body can instigate an erection. It's the psychological trauma that I'm experiencing in the moment which is preventing it. So here's the first thing, or one of the first things that changed everything for me. It was a mantra, reject your need for guarantee. Reject your need for guarantee. So when I was going through my phase of erectile dysfunction and I couldn't get it up, and every single time it felt like a failure, I felt forgettable, I felt like a disappointment, I felt as though I was never going to be able to get over this, I made the decision that I was going to make myself as viciously uncomfortable as possible, which meant continuing to put myself in these positions through exposure therapy. Because I think the worst thing that you can do is, if you can't perform, quote unquote, for a woman, the worst thing you can do is avoid these situations in the future, because it tells your mind this is something to resist. What I found is avoidance will amplify your anxiety. Action alleviates it. So what I did is I said to myself, when I was living in my grotty apartment in central Leeds, my apartment was infected by cockroaches, I was working this dead-end job for minimum wage, it felt as though nothing in my life was going right. I said, no matter what, I'm going to be able to get through this. This is a story that I'll be able to tell to my younger self. But rejecting my need for guarantee was so important for me, because what it meant is I could give myself permission to fail and it not be end of the world. I gave myself permission to be forgettable to women. I gave myself permission to be a disappointment, because the adult is developed to protect the child. The adult we become is designed to protect the child that we once were. So within all of us, there is this scared, lost little boy who maybe didn't get the love and the approval and the validation that he needed growing up. And what helped me was speaking to my inner child and saying to myself, listen, no matter what happens, we'll be okay. No matter what happens, I've got you. No matter what happens, we will get through this. So I became a parent to myself. Yeah, I became a parent to the child inside of me. So once I'd made peace with the perceived worst case scenario, the possibility of me not being able to get an erection, I started to attach less importance to it. And this is the first thing that I would say to you right now is allow yourself to fail. Allow yourself to go through this experimentation phase where you enable yourself to experiment without ego. Because you're probably putting a lot of pressure on yourself right now to perform. But for me, great sex is when two people take responsibility for their own pleasure. And I think that there is so much stigma in the world right now regarding the topic of masculinity, what it means to be a man. I remember when I was going through this, one of the other lesser known reasons why I had dysfunction was because I was attempting to embody an identity or an archetype that was never mine. So what I mean by that is, I think a lot of guys today, they put so much pressure on themselves to be this perfect alpha guy who just approaches a woman, gives her the wildest night of her life, and this like fairy tale figure. Maybe like me, you were addicted to porn at one stage in your life, and your sexual education came through that. And this gave you a warped understanding of what great sex actually looks like. And growing up, I remember the very first time I tried to have sex with a girl, it was my first girlfriend. So this was a girl I eventually lost my virginity to after much trial and error. The first time we went to her place and I couldn't get it up. I went soft. Now she was very understandable to this, but in my mind, I felt like a failure. I was at university, so I studied English literature at the University of Liverpool, going from a very small town and a sheltered upbringing to the big city of Liverpool where everybody was drinking, everybody apparently was shagging. It was a thing that you do at university, yeah? And because I always had this deep craving for recognition and wanting to be wanted and wanting to feel as though I fit in, yeah? Because I always felt like the social outcast. I always felt like the black sheep. I never had friends growing up. I always used to walk around my own at school, in the playground. I used to hide in the toilets because I didn't want to be seen being on my own. And when I was at university and I finally found this girl that had accepted me for who I was, but then I couldn't get it up, again, my childhood conditioning kicked in. I was worried, fuck, this is my only chance. I saw this event as a make or break situation. I was thinking to myself, because she was hot as well. She was smoking hot, my first girlfriend. And I understood she had so much interest from other guys. And I'm like, if I can't do this, I'm gonna lose my chance with her. And then what if it keeps happening and she then tells the entire campus about me and I almost get blacklisted on the university campus and everybody knows? Like, you see how my head was just doing these mental gymnastics. But she was patient with me. She was understanding. And I think this was another realization that I had. You know, when I was saying that I think there's a lot of pressure on guys these days to be these perfect alpha macho superheroes, I found that for me, partner selection was key, because I align with the identity of demisexuality. Now look, I don't enjoy attaching labels to identity because I think that all we are is repeated patterns of thoughts and behavior that we've accepted over time as ourselves. We then crystallize this identity through the language that we use. But understanding my psychological makeup, understanding how I function internally, I understand my nature now. And I understand when I look back at the greatest connections that I've made, the best relationships I've had, the best nights of ecstatic explosions, the best times I've had are when I've felt a true, deep connection with the feminine. And I almost felt as though when I was learning daytime approach and I was going on dates with women who then I couldn't get it up with, it felt as though these were not really the women who I wanted. They weren't really the women who I connected with. Sure, they might have been hot on the surface, but you might be similar to me in this regard, which is I need more than a woman to just be physically attractive in order for me to get to a level where I feel relaxed enough to become aroused. And I don't hear anybody else talk about this. I feel as though there is this stigma with men where it's like, where it's like, oh, all guys need is first to look hot and they're gonna be able to get it up instantly. And I feel as though there are so many guys out there who are like me, where you need more than just for her to be hot. You maybe need a level of emotional safety. You need to feel as though you are with this woman and she's not going to judge you. Yeah, you can relax with her. She allows you to feel like the guy. Because this was another thing for me, understanding more of my psychological makeup. For me to have incredible, mind-blowing, cosmic connection sex with a woman, I need to feel like the main character. I need to feel like the king. I need to feel as though she is there to please me. Because by pleasing me, that pleases her. And with the women who I've connected with over the years and the women who I look back on, I think to myself, those nights, the time that we spent together was incredible. When we had conversations after the intercourse, I sound like an absolute nerd, after the intercourse, they would say to me that the reason they enjoyed their time with me was because I was able to please myself through their body. And this was an important realization for me, because when you're with a woman, there's probably a part of you that feels as though you need to please her. You might be this quintessential nice guy right now. Maybe you're reading books on how to properly pleasure a woman. I remember I was reading this book, it was titled She Comes First, and it was all about giving great oral sex. And what I realized was I was putting so much pressure on myself to be perfect for her. But with the conversations I've had with women over the years, they get immense satisfaction knowing they're pleasing their partner. So what I was lacking in my relationships was my full, shameless ability to step in to my masculine. Yeah, fully stepping into that without apology, understanding what I enjoyed, understanding what I wanted, understanding the role I wanted her to play in the dance. Again, great sex is when two people take responsibility for their own pleasure. And by rejecting my need for guarantee, by accepting that even if the worst case scenario happens, I will be okay, and also understanding my own nature, recognizing for me to become aroused by a woman, I need to feel a level of connection. I need to feel that I am important in her eyes. Because I think that this is a deep, universal human need, is to feel important. And I think that for me, the bedroom became a mirror. It reflected back areas of myself that I wasn't free, and also it allowed me to understand myself better, because my major driving forces in life are I want recognition, I want external validation, I want the world to love me because I didn't get love as a child. I want to be worshipped. Yeah, I want to feel as though I am the king of my reality. The women who I'm in relationships with, I want them to see me as the guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of guys, they're carrying shame regarding their own sexuality. You may be in a position right now where you feel ashamed by the fact you've not been able to perform for women in the past. But the thing that always kept me steady as well was every new woman was an opportunity to recreate myself. It's very similar to when you're approaching women. The women who you approach on the streets, they don't have any pre-existing social context on who you are. And it's the same when you're first beginning the dating dance. Every woman is a fresh opportunity. Every woman is a new opportunity for you to recreate yourself in your own self-image. But I think that partner selection is so crucial. Are the women who you're attempting to sleep with right now, are they truly women who you feel connected with? Are they truly women who you want to go deeper with? Because you might be attempting to live an identity that is not yours. Yeah, you've been brainwashed by the brain dead into wanting to want what other people have told you you should want to want. And that for me is what was causing a lot of my dysfunction. It was being out of alignment with myself as a human being. I've made some more lists down here. By the way, if this if this has been useful so far, then I'm really happy because, like I say, this is the video that I wish had been available to me when I was going through it. And if you are going through it right now, I promise you, you will get through it. Yeah? Because smooth seas don't make skilled sailors. They really don't. Throw me in hell, I'll find a way to enjoy it. No matter what happens, you'll be able to handle it. And even for me now, talking openly about this is something that I never thought I would do. Because I think this is another nuanced point where I didn't write it down here, but when you're going through this as a guy, there's very few people you can talk about this stuff with. There's very few guys who actually understand it, because you might have close friends right now and they might have experienced what we're talking about. They might have had experiences with women where they couldn't get it up. But what I've found is very, very, very few guys are prepared to admit it, because I think it's a fear of losing status. I think it's a fear of not being seen as this macho alpha dude. It's a fear of, I guess it's a fear of being ostracized from the tribe. Like, oh, you've had that, bro. Oh, what's wrong with you? But by me putting this video out here, I understand you're not one of my private coaching clients. I understand we don't have a personalized form of communication. But what I do hope through this video is I've transmuted optimism in the absence of certainty, because I'm prepared to speak about this in an emotionally brave way. I want you to use me as an example. Nothing else worked for me. I tried the dick pills, I tried training hard, I tried meditation, I tried gratitude journaling. I actually think, this is another important point as well, I think doing all of these things worked against me. Because I think I was putting so much stress and pressure on myself to tick all of these boxes. So when it came to bringing a girl back to my place, I'd be so in my head. I'd be thinking, oh, did I train today? Oh, did I eat enough red meat? Did I get my 8 hours of sleep? And I found the best state to be in when you're with a woman is total empty-headedness, telling yourself that she is there for your pleasure. It pleases her to please you. You are the main character in your own movie. And even if things don't go well, everything's forgettable. In 100 years' time, none of this is going to matter. Give yourself full permission to be forgettable for these women. I have been disappointing, forgettable for so many women in my life, but those experiences have enabled me to become the man who I am today. Those experiences have allowed me to now, at 29 years old, be in the best relationship I've ever been in. The relationship I'm in now, I've been with this girl for over 2 years. The best sex, the best connection, the best everything that I've had in a relationship. And I think it's because I was able to excavate all of my emotional baggage during my experimentation years. I really hope that makes sense, because this is the deeper stuff that nobody else covers. Something really practical as well. Oh, wait, did I close that loop about, yeah, attaching excess importance to going to the gym, sleeping well, because you're probably doing these things right now and nothing's working, which is why I believe your issue is most likely psychological. The other thing as well that I want to talk about here is the use of condoms, right? Because when I was going through my Mr. Softy phase, condoms always used to be the bane of my existence, where I would I'd get it up, I'd be like, right, it's time, we're good. I've got a good 7 seconds here before the mast begins to go down. And what I always found was the time when it came to putting on the condom, going into the drawer, getting the Johnny out, opening it up, putting it on the pole, by that time, I'd already gone soft. So as something really practical I would suggest that you start doing is have the condom pre-prepared. So when I got the girl back to my place and things were getting hot and steamy, then we'd go to the bedroom and I'd just get the condom out. I'd take it out the package, I would put it on the bedside table, because then I removed the friction that it would take to put it on the pole, yeah? So that might be something useful now, because condoms can be a pain in the ass. You're ready to go, you feel as though, right, now's the time. let's get it done. And then you're fiddling around with the condom, she's trying to do stuff, but it's not working, and it just feels like an absolute mess. So I would say pre-prepare your condoms in advance. But yeah, I just want to leave you with this because if you're in a position and you know your issues are psychological, then for me, I've always had this prevailing belief in what I call liberated nihilism. It's recognizing nothing matters in the most liberating way possible. Life is a game, and the moment we start to take ourselves too seriously, attach excess importance to things that are going to be forgotten, it's all going to end up in space dust and ashes anyway. Act 5, Scene 3 of Macbeth. I would read this to myself when I was going through it, when I was in the depths of despair and I felt as though nothing was working and I felt as though I was never going to be fixed. I had nobody to talk to, nobody who got it. I returned to my old pal Shakespeare. And Act 5, Scene 3 of Macbeth. Life is but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage. It's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. So we get an hour upon this stage, and I don't want you to get to the end of your life with your music still inside of you. You've got so much potential. You've got everything you need to live an incredible dating life, an incredible sex life, to have these cosmic connections with wife-worthy women. You've got everything that you need, and it's not about adding more things, adding more muscle, fake confidence, getting your fucking cheekbones smashed. It's the removal of the unnecessary. It's the removal of everything that isn't you. And this is what I say to all my clients. You're already dateable. This is not about what you add, it's about what you remove. And I would say, if you are still watching porn, I would say remove that, because this is giving you a warped view on sex. It's giving you a warped view of what a relationship should be, and you're probably blowing your load every couple of days. This is what I was doing in 2020. I was addicted to porn. I was wanking myself off into socks. It was Slazenger socks from Sports Direct, 3 for a fiver, oi oi. So I'd say remove that shit from your life, because it's not serving you, and it'll also deplete your desire to get out there and meet new women. It'll also give you unrealistic standards towards women as well. I think that was everything. What else did I write down here? Oh, I just put get great at fingering. That actually was something that helped me, because I wanted to feel like I was the guy in the bedroom. I just got very good at finger blasting. I just got very good at that, because I wasn't gonna, my ring finger, not my ring finger, what's that one? My pointer finger, I wasn't gonna go soft on that. So I just got very good at fingering, because my mentality was, okay, worst case scenario, I get the girl to come a couple times, and by that point she's happy, and if I already know I've pleased her, it'll remove the pressure that I feel in the moment to be perfect. This was still coming from the wrong place. I was still operating from this people-pleasing tendency, like, please like me, please tell me I'm enough, please don't leave me. But as a practical interlude technique, I just got very good at that. I got very good at fingering. So that's what I'd leave you with here. I hope that this has been useful. I hope that if one thing that I've said has resonated, then that's awesome. If you've got any questions about anything, then feel free to leave them in the comments below. Drop me a DM on Instagram. I appreciate not everybody wants to do that, because not everybody wants to have their identity known by me. But one thing you'll learn, especially with the guys who I work with one-on-one, is I don't have judgment, right? I've been through the mud. I know what it's like to be in this position. I understand dating can be a delicate area for men to seek help and advice with, but I hope through my content you recognize that I'm not a coach, I'm not a guru, I'm not trying to be some alpha high-value man. I'm a human, just like you, and I'm documenting my life one video at a time, understanding that the people who need to hear this message will hear it. So that's my way of saying, if you DM me on Instagram, I don't give a flying fuck, mate. I don't give a flying fuck if you feel as though I'm going to judge you. I ain't going to judge you, because I've been through it. I feel as though I could write a book on this topic, because I've experienced this. I understand it. I understand this topic so deeply. And like I say, you'd be surprised, the guys who DM me on IG, you'd be surprised the amount of clients I've had where this has become a topic of conversation. This has been something I've personally guided them through, right? So I get it. Yeah, I think sometimes it's just being able to laugh at yourself and be like, okay, la 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 la, let's talk about erectile dysfunction. Because I think that helps you to reduce the excess importance. But yeah, hopefully this has been useful. That's it. Cool. Bye.